Brescia, the Center for Aid for Migrants and Asylum on Wednesday, the 18th of January 2012, held a conference titled Knowing Ghana, Giving Better Care at CAPRIOLO in the province of Brescia. The seminar was held in response to the operators in the social services sector whose demand was to know the nation of origin of the children under their care. Amongst these operators include educationists, teachers, psychologists, and voluntary workers who daily care for children under the tutelary of the social services, with particular reference to children who are cared for at Punto Fermo. The children are from almost every part of the world, which is represented by the foreign citizens living in the town of CAPRIOLO, amongst which are a major number of Ghanaians whose settlement in the town dates back to the 80s. The conference, held on the 18th of January 2012, was to focus on Ghana and Ghanaian citizens in Italy, with special attention on those residing in CAPRIOLO, which, according to the organizers, would improve their quality of care for the children under their protection. AKOSUA Edubaini, a cultural mediator and speaker for immigration issues in the city of Brescia, who has been collaborating with Dr. Patricia, a psychotherapist for Punto Fermo in counseling Ghanaian families, was guest speaker for the seminar. AKOSUA Edu showcased Ghana in her eloquent speech, giving the background to why Ghanaians migrate and how these operators must recognize the relations between the Ghana of 20 years ago and the Ghana of today. In her speech, she brought out some sensitive issues bothering Ghanaian families in Brescia and their perception towards Italians and the Italian community. She closed up with an article on the Ghanaian family which stirred interest and respect, as was commented by the operators present. Time was also given for questions, and these were the two main issues that rose up. The operators demanded to know why Ghanaians choose raping as disciplinary for their children, knowing such is against the Italian law. The second question asked by an old volunteer was her confusion between the Ghana AKOSUA Edu was presenting to them and the Ghanaian families she assists. She wanted to know how a person who AKOSUA Edu describes not as totally poor keeps on and showing that they are poor. But on the overall, much satisfaction was expressed by all the participants, hoping another of such seminars would be scheduled soon. The seminar was held under the auspices of the CAPRIOLO municipality. The data points to a sad reality of working mothers in the city of Brescia. Brescia operated in the classification of women who leave their work so they can give full care to their children, especially during the first year of the child. For this reason, the Provincial Councillor for Equality of Brescia, Dr. Anna Gandolfi, has signed a Memorandum of Understanding of Gender Discrimination Against Working Mothers with Dr. Luca Camplese, Director of the Territorial Directorate of Labour for Brescia. The focal point of the agreement will be a commitment of the part of the Territorial Directorate for work to examine the cases of allegations of discriminatory situations and by the Councillor for Equality to report to management any circumstances useful to implement the supervisory activities with respect to the weaker vessel. The Councillor will also implement the organization of several training sessions aimed at improving the skills of women who face discrimination at work. Dr. Gandolfi said that their first project, dubbed Jobs and Mothers, Are You a Working Mother? Then know that primary focus will be to discourage working mothers from resigning from their jobs, especially during the first year of their babies, as the survey showed. The training program will be implemented through a fresher seminar divided into 3 modules. The course will aim to provide detailed and extensive tools to inform users. The training is scheduled to take off in April 2012. Besides this, there will soon be available leaflets which summarizes some articles of legislations for the protection of motherhood and women in maternity. A first version will be sent to employees and the second and third to self-employed women workers with a typical contract. Answering to my question as to how many foreign women in the Brescia territory, especially Ghanaian women, are harassed to resign during their maternity leave, Dr. Lucas said that 92 foreign mothers out of the 785 resigned during 2011 with no specification to Ghanaian women. Dr. Anna Gandolfi also added that the reasons for their resignation was partly due to the fact of not having any to help them during pregnancy and after birth, and to the lack of social aid and facilities. The first agreement to prevent and combat gender discrimination in the workplace was signed on the 24th of November 2011. The Memorandum of Understanding, sponsored by the Provincial Councillor for Equality, Dr. Anna Maria Gandolfi, was signed by Councillor Giorgio Bontempi for the province of Brescia, the Territorial Directorate of Labour of Brescia, and the trade unions CHIGL, CHISL, UIL, and UGL of Brescia. The agreement, which lasts 3 years, wants to be real commitment to strengthen the connections and synergies for the correct application of anti-discrimination legislations and the promotion of equal opportunity policies in the workplace. The Provincial Councillor for Equality, recognizing the importance of direct dialogue with trade unions, to be the first to sign the protocol, which has been made possible thanks to the will of all subscribers. The agreement, which aims to promote the full implementation of legislations on equality and equal opportunities between men and women, as specified by the Director of Equality, is within the competence of the Councillor for Equality to guarantee equal opportunities between men and women, as stated in the Legislative Decree April 11, 2006, number. For a child from Ghana, please call the number on the screen and send your monthly donation of 10 to 20 euros per month to the Christian Faith Preparatory School through EcoBank Ghana Limited Takoradi branch, current account 160-123-7470-114, Swift code ECOGAC, ECOCGHAC. E invitiamo tutti voi a adottare un bambino a distanza al Christian Faith Preparatory School e Fiekuma EcoBank Ghana Limited Takoradi, conto corrente 160-123-7470-114, Swift code ECOGAC.
Financial support from the Italian government has always been directed towards small and medium-scale entrepreneurs in Ghana. This culminated in the establishment of the Ghana Private Sector Development Fund in 2004. The facility, which has so far assisted about 29 private companies, is a mixed technical assistance with both loan and grant components. The additional 22 million euro support is to continually support the efforts by the Ghanaian government to promote the development of the private sector. Already, 95 applicants have been approved, with 50 additions expected to be considered between 2011 and 2012. The Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, Mr. Joseph S. Annan, asked previous beneficiaries to adhere to the agreed repayment plans to enable others benefit from the facility.
The main component of this project is a soft loan, in other words, capital for the SMEs, in favor of Ghanaian entrepreneurs, which amounts to 20 million. That is 20 million euros, while the remaining 2 million euros are used to manage the credit facility and implement additional activities, particularly for capacity building, micro projects, and development of industrial clusters in various parts of the country.
With a repayment period between 5 and 8 years, Interested applicants must be in the manufacturing and delivery services sector and must have 100% Ghanaian private ownership.
I am convinced that this program can ultimately give a small but significant contribution to the efforts of Ghana on its way to reach the Millennium Development Goals.
Economic experts say the private sector holds the key to Ghana's economic growth as it contributes over 80% to the country's GDP. That is why such interventions are in the right direction.
As a minister of the gospel at Aviano Greater Rock Church. It's an American,
Where in
Aviano
Podinoni? Okay,
yes,
okay.
Yes. It was multinational church,
Okay.
where we have Americans, Italians, Ghanaians, Nigerians, Cameroonians.
Okay.
And then that's where, let me use the word, God brought me. I became a deacon, minister of the gospel from 1994. And then about a year or two in our church, Holy Way, which I serve as assistant pastor, minister, God raised me to be the pastor of the Assembly Holy Way Pentecostal Church.
That was in Podinoni.
I was a minister in Podinoni,
and then you came to
I
Brescia.
came to
You became the assistant pastor. And then you are now the head pastor, if I'll say.
Yes.
Should I say head? Do you have an assistant?
Yeah, we have assistant. Okay, Holy Way Pentecostal Church. We are situated in San Vigilio, Concesio.
Okay, you are in Concesio.
Precisely via Donatori di Sangue, number 12.
Okay.
And we part of an organization which we have branches all over in Italy, which is called Pentecostale Assemblea del Mondo.
Okay. But you have other branches of Holy Way Church in
Not
Italy?
necessarily Holy Way. Holy Way is
They
a
have
branch
different names.
to this Pentecostale Assemblea del Mondo, which we have many branches all over.
And the vision of your church, I know I've shown your works, but why should somebody want to come to Holy Way Church?
Well, I always say to our church that if you join yourself to us, you will be blessed because God has given us a mandate. Our mandate is church where we want to create an atmosphere of worship where you can show your love to God, for all that He does. And then the other platform is mission, going out, evangelizing, bringing people into the church. And then when you bring people from the word into the church, you now train them to use the gift that God gives them to minister to one another. So that is one of our focus. And the other focus is to mature the saints, to let them grow and become like Christ. So these purposes are what is driving us. Our driving forces are these purposes, which is not necessarily those we created. It is what the Bible has given us as a church, and we are just discovering them and then bringing them out for the
I have
work.
heard much of the activities which the church initiate. I know that sometimes you even collaborate with the...
You have rightfully said, we've done courses like Italian courses to help our community. We've done computer.
Is it a Ghanaian-based church?
No, it's a Ghanaian, Nigerians,
Okay.
Ivorians,
Okay.
and then we even have Cameroonians.
Okay.
Let me say it's international.
Okay. And what is the language that you speak over there?
We do speak English principally, and then we speak Twi, and then we have is to make sure that everybody who comes, it doesn't matter whether you are minority or majority, you will be understood and you understand
feel at
us.
home.
So we preach and we allow people to interpret in Italian and sometimes in Twi, depending on the audience we have at that time. So